she belongs.
All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday gathering. Some were saying earlier, I heard while we were doing stuff, our spiritual time together, our gathering all here for one cause in Toki's legacy. Howard looks very cool. What's going on there, Howard? But yes.
Wearing in.
Oh, gotcha. Well, we have a really great show for you guys today, and let's go around the room real quick, just do some quick check-ins. First, I want to welcome Gloria back with us. Gloria Pancrazi. How are you, Gloria?
Hi, I'm doing really good. So grateful to be here with everyone today. Yeah.
I was looking back, it was May. It was May of last year when you were on with us.
Whoa.
Oh, right? Yeah. So thank you for coming back with us today. I look forward to hearing from you. Christina, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here with all of you, and I'm really happy to hear what Ione has to say, and I know it will be inspiring, so I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, Christina. Marcia, how are you? The sun looks good there too. All of you guys have this beautiful in it too.
It rained earlier, but now the sun came out because it's Florida, and that's what happens. But no, I'm good. I'm really excited to hear what Ione and Gloria have to say, and I just love seeing all of you Orca nerd people every week. You're just my favorite people in my pod, and I'm happy to be here. So yeah, thank you.
Thanks for being with us. Alma, how are you?
Hi, it's a beautiful day here in Key West, nice and sunny, and super happy to be here on the Sunday gathering. It sounds like our guests are going to be amazing, so always a good Sunday to be with you all.
Yep. I keep putting 2024. Look, if you guys are noticing what I'm doing, I'm like trying to change the date. So I keep putting the wrong date on here. Deb Cruz, how are you?
Hanging in there.
The talkative Deb Cruz. You know what's awesome though, Deb Cruz? Like very few words, but man, this powerhouse. Deb Cruz is a powerhouse and involved in so much really important work. We could have a whole episode about all the areas that Deb Cruz is involved in. Maybe we should, because you're involved in a lot and it's all very important. So Deb Cruz, we're really blessed to have you with us every week. Thank you for being here. Howard, what is happening up there?
Well, I'm rocking this hat because there's a bright sun on a blue sky day and nothing but sunshine coming right in. So to see the screen, I need a little shade. So happy to be here. So great to see all your smiling faces, and I so appreciate this spiritual moment every Sunday. And let me sneak in a whale report here because we're entering our gray whale peak season. The little patch came in mid-December, and then Earhart, who has been seen almost every year since, believe it or not, 1990, and she is still coming in. And Gretchen and Thidwick, so at least 4, and there may be more. They kind of pop up unannounced every now and then. So we have gray whales just on the east side of Whidbey Island. And there have been a few sporadic reports of orcas, of big whales that have been seen but not identified or followed up much, just barely seen. One on the south end of Whidbey Island and one up by Anacortes in Rosario Strait. So pretty sparse. As far as southern residents or J35 Tahlequah, no signs since January 10th. That encounter report went up a couple of days ago, and some people thought that was the current sighting, but it was from January 10th. They've probably been out in the Pacific, out on the west end of Strait of Juan de Fuca, which is a sort of a seamount, Swiftsure Bank, it's called, and that is a very productive area. Lots of fish for them out there, so that's where they tend to hang out. Or they could come in and go north up into Georgia Strait and get lost up there for a week. There's a lot of inlets and hundreds of miles of shoreline that they could be up there without being reported to anybody. So that's our whale report, and happy to be here.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Howard, for clarifying. With Tahlequah, I think, there's been a lot of reports and a lot of, there's an ad, and we'll talk about that in a little while. And I know Linda Mate's done a great job on covering this. Mm-hmm. And I know it's hard for people to imagine that she still could be possibly carrying her calf. And it should be hard for us to see. If it's not hard for us to see, we have a problem. And really, I think, we're seeing it, but are we hearing, are we listening, and this is something that I was talking with Deb about, it's, are we listening? Like, there's a clear message here, and we know it and we've known it, and they can't make it even more clear. And I know it's hard to see, and I know it's hard to watch, because I've seen some of the comments about it, but too bad, because this is what is actually happening. And it's heartbreaking. And I encourage everyone to care for yourself, care for your heart as you can, because it is heartbreaking and it's really hard. And we have to do something about it, because if it's hard for us to see and hear about this, imagine how hard it is for them. And so I just need to put that out there, because it is difficult. It is a difficult situation. And that's why we're all here continuing to do what we do to get these dams breached. And we're going to hear more about that in just a little bit, about just how important the Snake River is. Deborah Ellers, how are you? And if you don't mind, when you're done telling us how you are, please introduce us to our wonderful guest today.
Thanks, Annette, and everybody. Great to be here. Like Howard, I'm really enjoying the sun and the blue skies on the Salish Sea here in January. And I was saying I heard a frog croaking out on my morning run, so it's almost eerily like spring here, enjoying the weather, but it's a little spooky. Without further ado, I want to introduce Ione Jones, because we're just so pleased to have her here, and I want to give her a chance to talk about her work and the upcoming events with her group. Ione Ironhorse Jones is a lineal descendant of the original peoples of Fishhook Band, a place where indigenous villages and communities once existed along upper, middle, and lower parts on the Snake River. Ione is an enrolled member of the Confederated Tribes and Bands of Yakama Nation, specifically as Woyikmanakishim Nushwa, the people of the lower Snake River Palouse. Her father's family is from the Wind River Reservation located in Fremont County of Wyoming, where the Northern Arapaho and Eastern Shoshone reside. Ione is an independent researcher, cultural programmer, and advocate, studying the way modern systems impact Indian country. Ione conducts much of this work in her role as president and executive director of Kimstonik, a grassroots native-led nonprofit she co-created in 2022. So that is some of Ione's impressive biography, but I want to speak to my personal connection with Ione. I've been involved, I think many of you have heard me say before, in breaching the Snake River dams for 3 decades now, since the 1990s. And as part of that work, I got to know Ione's aunt, Carrie Nightwalker Shoesmith Chapman, and her brother, Jesse Nightwalker. And I was very, very close to both of them before the pandemic. And we all know what happened during the pandemic. Pretty much everything shut down. But I had done so many activities with both Carrie and Jesse, where we had stood together on the Capitol steps. We'd been out in the pouring rain advocating for breaching the dams and saving salmon and orcas. And I had just the utmost regard for both of them. Learning Carrie's story, and particularly how she and her family were literally kicked off the lower Snake River when these dams were constructed, specifically Ice Harbor Dam. It was just heartbreaking. And I knew no matter what, to me, this has been one of the driving forces, is to try to do right, have some social justice, have the Palouse regain their culture and lands that were taken from them in such a wrongful manner. I got to know Ione in 2022. I think it was actually 2023 when I first met her. She had taken over. Carrie is still very active, engaged, but she's not really up to being on the front lines anymore. So that's where Ione comes in. So Ione has taken up the torch with I will say, great passion and action. I have done quite a bit with Ione since I first met her in the fall of 2023. And I'm wearing the shirt I got from that event. So it's a really nifty shirt with feathers and an orca and a salmon on it. It's part of the All Our Relations campaign that was focused on breaching the Snake River dams. And since then, I've also done the annual event she hosts at Sacagawea State Park, a really important cultural area she can talk more about. And also I did the Snake River Healing canoe journey, which was extremely meaningful. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Ione to talk more about herself and her work.
Pachwai, Wanik Shash, Ilwa Lilt in my Yikma Nafiam, Ashwa. Good afternoon. I appreciate such a warm welcome from Deb. I'm so grateful to see Deb Cruz and Gloria and all of you here today. Thank you for listening in so that we have an opportunity to share our work with you today. It is important to be able to enter space with individuals that are like-minded and that we can trust to understand our original people and persons that once resided along the rivers, the oceans, and that were our stewards and ancestors that hold dear to our heart. So thank you today for joining us. My name, Ilawaliltinmai, was given to me in 2008 as I began to work more diligently alongside my aunt, Carrie Schuster, and Jess Chapman Nightwalker. Each of my relatives have continued to be voices that advocate the importance of the salmon, the orca, as well as our native plants. What I would like to share with you today is the work not only that they started, but the foundation that was laid for us by our grandmother. Her name was Klimstanik, and that is who our organization is named after. Her English name was Mary Jim Chapman. If we can, I would like to give a moment of silence for those that have came before us, for those that continue to keep the good fight, and for those that will follow. Thank you. We have done a lot of amazing work, but this work was not anything that we created on our own. We walked into footsteps that were laid by many that continue to do the work and advocate to breach the dams. We met Gloria and Deb, through some of the past relationships that my auntie and Jess created. Jess, we lost in 2021. And although he is no longer with us, he did great, powerful work in reminding those that he had an opportunity to share his space. He was able to provide context as to who he was and why it was important to carry on the lessons that were provided to him. His mother, Carrie Schuster, she is doing the best that she can based on the circumstances that we are in today. One of the things that drives me to continue to the work is how hard my aunt and others have done in the past. On April 19th, 1988, my grandmother and my aunt rushed to the railroad tracks so they could join a meeting in Washington, D.C. They were there to help provide history to the Office of Indian Affairs, as well as the representatives for Washington, Hawaii, and other Office of Indian Affairs staff and attorneys. They were joined by other tribal elders from various areas that are also lineal descendants for the rivers. These families are the last lineal descendants that have continued to share the history and the trauma that followed with our removal. My family was removed by force. The dams began, I would have to say, as far back as the 1800s for tribal communities. On the Yakama reservation, many private dams were being built along the different areas, Yakama River, diverting river. This is not, Lower Snake River dams is not the first time that our villages have been exploited on behalf of communities that do not live or nor are impacted by the removal of our graves as well as our foods. What we do in our work is we create cultural and traditional ecological knowledge spaces so that we can continue to connect our elders and youth to the areas that are identified as tribal areas. We are the original stewards. And I'd like to quote an individual that joined us on April 19th, 2024, that indicated, "We are the Creator's children. His laws are etched into our bones. And it's because of his law that continues to connect us to our native plants, to our relatives, the salmon, the deer, the antelope, that we continue to provide and give back." And now I believe that's where we're at today. We are working together to understand not how to continue to be reactatory to what has been negatively impacted into our communities. We've seen how the Klamath Falls and Elwha rivers are flowing, and we would like to understand how to begin to prepare the foundation for those building blocks. We started the nonprofit in 2022 because we felt that the voices that are as testimonies, not only in federal and state processes, but also in various state and federal departments and divisions. Information that our ancestors shared with these governmental offices were not provided so that our lands would continue to be displaced from us. The information was shared so that the foods and the animals would be protected and that the original stewards would be returned home so that they continue our cultural and traditional ecological knowledge system with our elders and our youth. During April 19th, 1988, what was also shared was the beginning of NAGPRA. That particular act, I believe, was not only supported by our elders, but was placed so that they would continue to be protected federally and state. And so, as we look at the various activities that are occurring today, it appears that many policies are beginning to be overlooked and not included in many developments that are happening. What we are hoping through these processes is that we're going to be able to begin identifying the dates that we are going to begin removing the dams. When are the first two going to begin to be placed on the schedule? These dams, as much media as being presented from some governmental officials, is false. It is not our responsibility to replace revenue for others. It is not our responsibility to ensure sports activities are maintained. We need to ensure that the cultural and historical preservation of these areas are protected because, unfortunately, some officials who discuss the Snake River in the areas between Lions Ferry to Sacagawea are unaware of crimes and vandalisms that are occurring against our artifacts. In March of 2024, our petroglyphs were vandalized. A report was filed. But it's my understanding not many are aware that are a part of signing a 10-year agreement. In fact, many activities along the area for Upper Snake River through Lower Snake River are including developments that really are depleting our water usage, our clean air, and our lands. Now, despite what is occurring in the governmental discussions, what we have chosen as a grassroots organization is to prepare with our limited resources. We have joined others in hopes to begin to rematriate and heal the Snake River. So we have identified various native plants that are our focus in enhancing so that the plants can naturally begin to remove invasive species brought in through the colonial process. I would like to share our journey from May, if that's possible, through a link that we have from May 2024.
Sorry, it wasn't letting me do two things. This is the YouTube link, correct? Yeah. Okay. Give me 1 second.
The Palouse tribe is bringing back cultural indigenous plants that were lost when the Lower River Dam. Iron Horse Jones spearheaded this adventure that included tribes from all over the state, river advocates and organizations, a documentary filmmaker, and of course, friends and family.
It's a real community allyship together. You know, everything gets donated.
They started at Lyons Ferry and traveled about 50 miles. But the journey was about so much more than just canoeing down the Snake River.
During our off-paddle times, we have been providing rematriation activities, which includes planting some of the original native plants that were grown here.
Bobby Fosek rounded up the group for a lesson about native and invasive plants.
Roses are really good at holding the bank together, then they protect them because they have thorns.
He then led the group in a planting of a wild rose on the riverbank. Everyone was invited to plant some seeds, forming their own personal connection with the land and the river.
We really want to include rematriation in each community ally here in ensuring that all of us leave a piece of us here. And so now we're all family.
Also along for the journey was a documentary filmmaker, Grace Pancrazi. Her latest piece is focusing on Jones and the issues she's bringing attention to.
I'm working with Ione on a short film about her work and her family's mission to rematriate the land and bring the bones that were stolen back, bring their people back to the river, get the river running free again.
Breaching the dams is one of those issues highlighted by this journey. As the group prepared to launch, one paddler took the opportunity to cast a fishing line. Right away, he had a fish on the line. The fish had a hook and line stuck in its mouth from being caught before, so Basil got it out and released the fish back into the water.
We are continuing this cultural and traditional knowledge-based system, and that's it. This is it. We're here to let the river guide us and share with us the type of medicines that they need so that the rivers can help restoring our salmon and help protecting the lands from so many wildland fires.
For the Palouse, passing down traditions keeps their culture alive, and in journeys like this one, they're leaving a seed of hope in their ancestral lands along the river. This is Toby Solvang with Apple Valley News Now.
Thank you. And for those of you watching, I just put the link in the Facebook chat and I'll upload it now to the YouTube. So you guys can go back. There was a little bit of sound weirdness at the beginning, but that way you can go back and watch that again.
Thank you for that. Some of our recent work that we've completed through Allies is a letter to Maria Cantwell, inviting her to our April 19th event. What we are requesting from Maria Cantwell's office is seeking support in addressing the profound impacts of the lower Snake River dams, which have caused both environmental degradation and cultural loss for our people and the broader communities that depend on the river. Maria Cantwell has long understood the importance of cultural rematriation as demonstrated during her advocacy for the Spokane tribe in the fight for justice regarding the Grand Coulee Dam. Maria Cantwell's words. The Grand Coulee Dam wiped away the salmon population that had sustained the Spokane people, as well as the traditional spiritual and cultural customs that had revolved around it. We begin these discussions from a place of awareness, acknowledging the presence of the current memorandum of understanding between the federal and various tribal governments. However, the memorandum does not prevent us from exercising our hereditary right to speak out and advocate for the protection of our lands and waters. Cultural healing and community care. Our efforts today are driven by the same need for healing you acknowledge for the Spokane people. The rematriation of our lands and the restoration of salmon populations are essential not only for the survival of our culture and traditional ecological knowledge systems, but for our people's well-being. The loss of sacred sites and displacement has disrupted our traditional practices and harmed the mental and physical well-being of our families. Restoration and collaboration in anticipation of dam removal. We have a unique opportunity to be proactive in shaping the environmental and cultural restoration of the Snake River rather than being reactive once the dams are eventually removed. This approach is strongly supported by modern environmental science, as highlighted in the 2022 report by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA. This scientific backing aligns with our cultural need to revive salmon populations and all our other relatives along the Snake River. By working together now, we can ensure that cultural and ecological recovery happens in alignment with our values and needs, rather than merely validators of Western scientific methods. This plan would not only focus on ecological recovery, but also include economic development, respect for our sovereign rights, and the revival of traditional cultural practices. Sovereign rights and legal accountability. The degradation of the Snake River extends beyond environmental impacts. It represents a violation of our sovereign rights held in community as the Palouse people. The legal frameworks of National Historic Preservation Act, NHPA, and the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, NAGPRA, will play a key role on the rematriation process for us. However, the responsibility of the United States government goes beyond legal frameworks. It calls for acknowledging the harm caused and implementing long-term solutions that honor Indigenous knowledge and traditions. We would welcome the opportunity to meet with you to collaboratively develop restoration strategy that reflects our shared commitment to environmental and cultural justice. We are cordially inviting you to attend our annual event, Lakma Namyanawita. Everyone welcome, held at Sacagawea State Park at the confluence of the Snake and Columbia River on April 19th, 2025. This event commemorates the 1988 salmon scam and is dedicated to those who spoke up and were imprisoned for exercising our rights and traditions on April 19th, 1988. We hope you can be in attendance to witness our living culture. Thank you for your leadership and dedication to these critical issues. We look forward to working together to restore the Snake River and heal the communities who depend on it. Ilawalil Tinmai, Ione Jones, Columbia Snake River Tribal Member, Executive Director of Kimshtanik. We, the undersigned organizations and individuals, support and endorse this letter on behalf of Kimshtanik. Ayatutenmai. Carrie Chapman Schuster, Columbia and Snake River Tribal Member, Matriarch and Elder. Laulawish. Harry Tyrone Chapman, Columbian Snake River tribal member, elder. Lumyeluk, Bruce Jim, senior, Columbia and Snake River tribal member, elder. Wooly Wanik Awinch, Jessup Jones, Shoshone tribal member, board of director, Chimstanik. Jode Gowdy, Columbia River tribal member, board of director, Chimstanik. Johnny Buck, Yakama tribal member, founder, Indigenous Just Transition. Anastasia Meyer, director, Land Clinic. Tam Conley, chair, Lower Snake River Dam Committee of Great Old Broads for Wilderness. Deborah Elders, Port Townsend, Washington, Great Old Broads for Wilderness. Gloria Pancrazi, co-founder, Coexistence Film. Elizabeth Dunn, Port Angeles, Washington, Earth Law Center, Dam Sense. Julian Matthews, Enrolled Nimapu, coordinator, Nimapu Protecting the Environment. I would like to welcome Gloria to share our film and possibly any other information she would like to add to support what we have shared today. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Ione. Thank you for that and sharing that letter. Beautifully written. I hope she attends. And I look forward to sharing a little bit more info so folks have that ready for those that want to go to that. Welcome back, Gloria.
Hi. Ione, hearing you speak was just so powerful, and you are such a incredible, inspiring person. And I think I can speak for anyone who has worked with you. We're just so grateful for you. Ione and I are working on a short film to help support her work and vision for land rematriation, freeing the Snake River, healing both the people and the lands and waters. The short film is following two timelines: the present following Ione's work, and the past following Hemstenik's life, and how she also advocated for land return in her life. And so it kind of links this, this relationship of grandmother and granddaughter, fighting together for land return and for healing and for justice. I, similarly to Deborah, got to meet Ione through working with Jesse and Carrie. And last year for the 2024 new Palouse healing journey, I finally got to meet Ione in person, and we filmed a demo, we call it. So it was kind of just like, what's happening? What can we capture? What are we able to just get a better sense of what film we want to tell together? And we got to kind of create this beautiful demo that we wish we could share with you all today, but we're not able to share it publicly. We do have a few film stills. If you want Annette to play them as I'm speaking, feel free to do so. That's the canoeing happening. And now we're in the stage of fundraising to be able to tell this story. We'll definitely be filming during the 2025 canoe healing journey. This is Ione when she was planting native species. I believe it was a rose by one of the dams, and it was a very, very powerful and heartbreaking moment. For those who don't know, when birds get close to the dams, they get shot at, and we were realizing that in this moment, which is pretty wild. So it was a pretty intense experience. But the planting was really, really powerful, and I could feel at least the impact it's having. And I'm very, very grateful to be working with Ione, and I'm really hoping that this film can help get more people aware of Ione's work and getting people to want to take a stand with her and take action. I know, Ione, you shared that an important part of the film too is to share it to other tribal members and to get them to connect with their culture and also feel hope in a moment where there's so much despair. And so I really hope that this film does that as well. We're still in such the early stages, but the story I find is, yeah, incredibly beautiful. And I'm incredibly grateful to Ione allowing me into her life to support. That was Ione cheering on people. That was such a beautiful moment. So much joy. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing those with us.
Yeah. Did I make it? Is there anything you want to add, Ione, about the film that I didn't say right or didn't say enough of, or?
It's a very powerful moment for us because it's the first time that we expanded from Lions Ferry down to Fishhook Park that week. And we had continued to reach out to other tribes that have canoes in hopes that they would join us. And we had a very wonderful surprise from the Puyallup Nation. They joined us on the first day, albeit I did share, and I will continue to share. The river will let us know when the river is ready for us. The land and the air, we are at the Creator's mercy when we are out in primitive lands. And so the first 2 days of the journey and camping, it was so windy. We were encountering up to 50-mile-per-hour winds.
Wow.
We went through hail. We went through white caps on the river. We also, I believe, had hail and snow. I'm not sure if we had snow, but I'm fairly certain we had hail because of the amount of little items that it left all over the ground. But to see our relatives from the coast join us on that first day was so monumental in my heart. That is why I do what we do. That's what I hold dear inside. That's what motivates me. One of the individuals, as we went around the circle, we asked everybody to introduce themselves, share where they were joining us from, and their what they had hoped to leave from that event, what they wanted to take back home with them. And at the very end of everybody introducing themselves, we probably went through at least 50 to 60 members. And one of the young men at the very end really just made me feel so happy. We talk about healing the Snake River. And what he shared with us is he was grateful to be there. He had a lot going on in his personal life and at home, and appreciated that moment just to be there on the river, sharing the space with the individuals that were there, understanding that we were there to heal the river. So that is one thing that we look forward to sharing in the film is you'll be able to see the young children and as you've seen in the short segment, our youngest paddler was 3 years old. And so one thing for me is in 2020, when COVID hit, I became personally afraid and wondering what would happen to me and the stories that my grandmother shared with me, my Katla, who would continue what she brought to my heart and to my spirit. And so using her words, my husband and I began to conduct research following the Indian census, following the Bureau of Land Management, and remembering the different areas and the testimonies that our ancestors gave. And through my grandmother's stories, we were able to find her on a 1915 Indian census. We were able to put together her oral stories to the governmental records so that we could remember and share that history. So I highly encourage everybody today to visit your ancestry chart so that you can understand exactly what was so critical for our ancestors to provide us that unwritten story, why we could share where these ceded territories that are still occupied today. And so on April 19th, 2025, we began not only an invitation to Maria Cantwell, but what we are hoping to do is really invite as many tribal and non-tribal members to the confluence so that we can share that history that's still out there that allows us to remain connected as stewards. And so we will have a round dance for a social gathering. We highly encourage regalia. We will have vendors available. We're also starting a project, which I'm happy to share, that Julian Matthews from Nemopu Protecting the Environment has donated us a cedar log, so that we can build our very first traditional dugout canoe. And so we are in the process of working on a space. When it is official, we will share on our website the location of where we will conduct this build, and in hopes that this is going to open up many environmental programming that will only enhance the preparation of the removal of the 4 dams, so that we can begin that dialogue and what it looks like for the first 2 to be scheduled. Because although there is a 10-year agreement between 6 sovereign nations, I do want to bring to the attention that there are only 6 sovereign nations that signed that agreement. There are 14 identified as federal recognized tribal bands under the Yakama Nation Treaty alone. We descend from the Palouse band that is identified on that treaty. So we are a federal recognized member. We do not agree with the 10-year agreement, which is why we have began the tribal grassroots organization, so that we can move forward and we can prepare our lands that will be changed once the dams are removed. We don't have to wait for a elected official to tell us what to do. We can make preparations now. We can ensure that although overburdened communities do not include the proper tribal flagship along the Snake River, that our voices are on the river, boots on the ground. And with that, May 4th is the blessing for the journey. May 5th is when the journey begins at Lions Ferry. It's May 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. We will complete the journey at Fishhook Park. And then on May 10th, the Saturday before Mother's Day, is our annual Palouse gathering. And that is where we share the work with the original descendants. This is a day for our families to join together to bring out new Indian names, to honor those that have left us, and to also remember the ancestors that were the last ones toe to line that held the Snake River and that refused to join any of the treaty tribes. We had 1,000 families that lived along the Snake River that held their ground. And if you would like to join us, we have a flyer, QR code. Also, any tribal vendors that would like to join us, you're welcome to register as a vendor as well as a participant. And we're also, as we are preparing to build our first dugout, we're actually working on alternative opportunities in hopes to create space along the Snake River through various permitting processes. But we also are hoping that to receive donations for a land back campaign that will assist in providing lands for our ancestors and our current elders that do not identify with federal reservations and that are seeking lands in hopes to be buried next to the Snake River. I have elders that do not identify with the federal cemeteries and graveyards. I have been asked to continue to seek lands so that when it is their time, they will be buried where they grew up. And so that is one thing that I have been asked to remind everybody. Most federal bands listed under the treaties did not originally reside where they are now. Many elders want to go home, including my auntie, Ayatutanmai, my uncle, Estamalut. Each day, that is really what I am hoping to provide. And if you would like to learn more or get to know more of our family and why Snake River is so important to them, and share your work and why Snake River is so important to you, we would like to provide you that opportunity through the cultural engagements that we host and sponsor. We also work with other students that are seeking opportunities to learn how to continue community engagement after they graduate from their studies. And so we have created an opportunity for others to learn cultural and traditional ecological systems from the true stewards in a manner that's appropriate so that we're not continuing to assist in genocide and allowing voices that were not impacted, that are not crying to go home, speak on our behalf nor represent us. I'd also like to share any interest within the doctrine of discovery and the history. Our board member, Jode Gowdy with redthought.org is also a very high resource for information on how to assist in culturally appropriate manners to provide space for Indigenous. Also, January 25th, the University of Washington will be hosting the film that Gloria and my aunt, Carrie Schuster, as well as her son, they were in 2018. And I would like to let Gloria share more on that.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, January 25th. Anyone In Seattle or the surrounding areas, there will be a screening at the University of Washington, which has been mostly organized by the students, which is really awesome. It's a free screening. I do think they're trying to get like as many students to show up, but I think also anyone else is more than welcome to join. Ione might be there. Hope I'm not putting you on the spot. If weather allows, she will be there. Kurt Russo will also be there speaking, and it's a very like impact focused event. There will be booths outside of the screening afterwards where people can go and learn more about the issues. There'll be some, easy ways to take action. Like I know we'll have a co-extinction booth with maybe like letters to send to representatives and things like that. So yeah, we hope to see you there. And I'll even tease a little news that will come out soon that we haven't announced anywhere yet. But Coextinction will soon to be available in the US to watch online. It'll be around Earth Day. Get ready for a screening and the film coming out right after the screening. So we're still in the process of organizing everything. So I'm definitely giving the scoop before I'm supposed to, but I'm too excited. And I feel like you guys are the community that's been waiting for it. So I'm telling you that now.
That's really great news. Thank you, Gloria. Yes.
Yeah, we're so excited because it's been available in Canada. And obviously I feel like people in the States are so connected to the issues unfolding and need to watch the film. So I'm so excited they'll be available finally. And I'll share the everything as soon as we have it. But until then, if you want any updates, they'll be on coexistancefilms.com.
That's awesome. And then hopefully you can come on maybe right before that too, just to remind folks once that's official or, ready to hand out dates or where to watch. That would be really, really great. I'm going to encourage folks right now real quick, take a screenshot of this and see if we could put that link back up too. There you go. Take a screenshot now so that you guys have that information. There's also the links to it, but it's really good to do the screenshots. And then I also want to ask you guys to go ahead and please take another screenshot now. And this is the event calendar with things that are coming up. And there's some QR codes there. Guys, take a screenshot. You'll want to save this so that you can have this information. And Deb Cruz put up the link there as well. So take a screenshot if you didn't get the link before so that you know where to go back and look. So if you guys go to npgivingvoice.org, and then you'll see events, you'll see getting involved, you'll see all kinds of stuff. I really, really encourage you guys to check out that website. So thank you guys for that. Lots of stuff that you're working on. Thank you so much for including us and giving us the heads up and allowing us to participate, because I think many, many people will. You've got the right audience here for sure. And like we always say, guys, let's not preach to the choir. Please share this episode. Please share the website on your own socials. Those of you watching, those of you on the screen, so that we can get more people to be aware, more people to get educated, and more people to be involved. So thank you very much. Ione, thank you so much for being with us today. It was really, really an honor to share your stories and your experiences in your life. And it just, I'll tell you, there was a lot of what you said that really touched me, but your elders wanting to go home. Yeah, that it's ridiculous that's a fight, and so we're with you, and however we can help, please let us know. It's Deb Allers.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Deb Allers, for having Gloria and Ione back on with us. Gloria, it was really great to see you again. Current news, again, why, there's so many reasons that the dams should not be there. So many reasons. And the one in the media right now, as you guys know, there was a full page ad. Deb Allers, you want to talk about this? Well, I took 2 screenshots because it was too little to do. But you want to tell us about this? Oops, I think you're muted. There you go.
Yeah, I subscribe to the Seattle Times. I get old-fashioned hard copy papers just for this reason, is that if you subscribe online, you don't actually see what the paper looks like. Yeah, when I was looking through the front, this is the first section, the A section. There's this giant full-page ad taken out by National Wildlife Federation. Really moving and really well written. Tahlequah, we see you. Twice now you've shared your grief with us, and your message is clear. We must act before it's too late. So maybe we can just post this somewhere. I have it on the North Olympic Orcapod site so you can read through it. I don't really want to take the time, but I'm really happy to see one of the so-called big greens taking out this full-page ad. I think it will have a tremendous impact. The Seattle Times, of course, is the state's largest paper, and I know people like the new Governor Ferguson will pay attention to that. Before we move on, though, I did want to just express my gratitude to Ione and Gloria for coming on. But Ione's powerful words just moved me to say, here is a way to support restoring the Snake River now. We don't have to wait for Maria Cantwell to act. We don't have to wait. We can support Ione in her work. We can show up at her wonderful upcoming events, April 19th in Tri-Cities, Sacagawea State Park, and the Healing Canoe Journey on May 4th to 8th. They're really fun and they're educational. I love going to these places. And despite what Ione said about the hail and so forth and wind, which can happen, typically spring is a delightful time to be on the Snake River. Other ways to support, donate. Money is needed for these events, for the full day gathering at Sacagawea State Park and the Healing Canoe Journey. If you can't show up, donate some money. That will really help buy supplies for the paddlers, meals, whatever else is needed along the way. And then finally, I think, as Annette said, be sure and share these stories and information out with others. Everyone needs to learn about the original peoples along the lower Snake River. That part of Washington is called Palouse. Hey, let's learn about it. Let's actually recognize and honor the original people's wisdom who were there since time immemorial for thousands and thousands of years. So thank you, Ione. Thank you, Gloria.
Thank you, Deb Allers. I'm going to give everyone the opportunity. I know we're a little over, but it's what we do. We just go with it. So if you have to hop off, feel free to hop off. But I know I'm not the only one filled with gratitude right now. So let's just go around the room and Peggy Oki.
Thank you. So much gratitude to Ione and Gloria for your work. And thank you, Deborah, also for expressing the support that we can all show for this very honorable work that's being done. And let's see this happen. Thank you.
Alma?
Yes, so much gratitude for both of you being here today and sharing just your heart and emotion. Another reason of utmost importance that the Snake River dams need to be breached. Thank you.
Christina?
I'm overwhelmed with emotion, really, because I love how you speak, and it is like not if or whatever, it's when, and we're healing now, and we're planting the plants. And I mean, honestly, it moves me a lot, because that's what needs to happen. It needs to heal now, not later. And you stand your ground. And sorry, I'm getting emotional, but it was very emotional for me. So I have
Thank
so
you.
much gratitude.
Christina.
Thank you.
Deb Cruz?
Mover and shaker as always, ladies. Make it happen.
Marcia?
I'm just very honored to have heard your words today, Ione, and thank you, Gloria, also for your beautiful work. I can't wait to see that film. My question to you is going to be, when can we see it? So yay on that coming out. But it's such a deeply powerful message. the energy about your ancestors and just, it's so deeply touching and heartbreaking. And then the orcas as well. It's the same journey, and I support all of your work, and just thank you. And I'm getting a little weepy myself, so I'm going to pass and just say thank you again.
Thanks, Marcia. This is important information, you guys, to share. This is important. Everyone with their different viewpoints and experiences and connection, like the connection to this cause, and to keep sharing it. I know, a lot of us have been doing this for 20 plus years, but there's so many people out there that don't know. It's amazing to me to see the articles with Tahlequah and the comments. People are just, and it's not their fault. I don't mean this to be mean, but there's so much ignorance out there, and it is up to us to educate the public. It is up to us to bring it to their attention. It's up to us to get them involved and to show them how. And you're doing all of that, Ione, in your website. So it's not just talking about, there's the actions. Like, what do you do? What can you do right now? And like Christina said, there are things you guys could do now. I know Deb Allers and some others will be planting over the next couple of days. I mean, just amazing action that makes a difference right now. But the masses are seeing Tahlequah on the news, and the comments to me are just outrageous. And I try not to get mad, but then I just remember they don't know, and it is up to us to inform them. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. Speaking of doing a lot of work, Howard, I'm going to let you give your gratitude, but I would also like you to, if you don't mind, to remind folks about Ways of Wales coming up, because there's lots coming up this weekend, including that screening. So Howard.
Thank you, Annette, and thank you, Ione and Gloria, for your words, your message, your passion, your knowledge, and for sharing with us, and for your planning of this beautiful event coming up in April. This is very emotional and very informational. I've learned so much from you. I really appreciate all that. And yes, we're having Ways of Wales on Saturday, the 25th from 10 till 5. So it'll be over before the screening of Coextinction at UW. And I welcome everybody to register either for the online version or come in person. I'll be telling the story of El Pod's first return ever that we know of to the site of the captures in the 1970s. And we'll have a lot of salmon restoration stories there too. It will be hopefully an informative workshop. So thank you so much for being here and joining us today.
Awesome. Thank you, Howard. And I'm trying to get up the comment here with the link so that folks can go to register. So give me 1 second. You can always go to Orca Network, and there's a link there too at orcanetwork.org. But let's get that up. Folks, go ahead and screenshot that or write that down. But you definitely want to register. Thank you guys, Howard, for making it available hybrid. I think that is very, very cool, because so many people would love to be there. And now we can. So that's pretty awesome. So thanks, Howard. All right, guys. Thank you. Does anyone have anything else? Did I skip anyone? No? Okay. We have a lot of work to do. And there's a lot of work to do. Ione, thank you for giving us some hope. And we really, really appreciate that. We'll go ahead and close out.
Yes.
It feels a little quiet. So if you have any last words for us, Ione, just for those of us feeling very, we're all feeling something different. We can all say a word if we want, but sometimes feeling a little stuck, a little sad with some upcoming events. I mean, a lot of us are just feeling it right now. So anything you can share with us to keep us motivated, that's a lot of pressure, but any words of advice or wisdom for us, we appreciate.
I just again want to express my appreciation for inviting me here today and for including me in this space because I do feel that it's important that we continue to exercise our right as human beings to protect those that are crying for us, our native plants and our animals. And one thing that I share with community is I promise I am going to flood Snake River with my relatives. I'm just beginning with our plants and assisting our animals. There's more than one way that we can be proactive. And for a grassroots organization, we are doing our best to remain positive, focused, because it will happen. And as long as we continue to share the message with others, I believe that that's the dialogue necessary to continue the healing process that we all need. So thank you guys. That's what I have to say. It's just kaitsiaoyo. Thank you. Kaitsiaoyo.
Thank you so much. Everybody, we'll see you next week. Thank you again, Ione, Gloria, Deb Allers, Piggy, Marcia, Howard, Christina, Alma, Deb Cruz. Love you guys. We'll see you next week.
Aquacha,